I edited a yearbook entry and never told anyone about it. This happened during my last year of high school, and I've kept it to myself all this time. I was part of the yearbook committee, where we had a tradition of writing short texts for each graduating student. Most entries were sweet or funny, but one stood out to me in a troubling way. There was a guy in our year who wasn't part of the popular crowd and had faced bullying throughout high school. He was a bit different, but never mean. Someone had submitted what seemed like a nice tribute, but it was laced with cruel undertones. It made subtle digs about his crush, mocked his style, and included mean-spirited jokes that only made sense if you knew his story. The submission was anonymous, but I recognized the email address from a kid who always tried to be funny to fit in. It felt like a final blow before graduation, and I couldn't just let that happen. So I changed it. I didn't rewrite everything, just removed the hurtful parts and made it neutral and kind. I was careful not to make it overly glowing, but I ensured there was nothing that could hurt him. When the yearbooks came out, no one questioned the text. As far as I know, he never realized how close he came to being humiliated one last time. I never told him or anyone else on the committee. Honestly, I'm not sorry for what I did, even though I wasn't supposed to change the submissions. Everyone deserves to end their high school years on a decent note. I still think about it sometimes and wonder how he's doing now. I know this isn't a terrible confession, but I felt the need to share it. I broke a school rule, but I don't regret it. It's easier to tell strangers than people I actually know. It happened over a decade ago, and bringing it up would feel awkward. I was one of those shy kids who preferred to fly under the radar. Now, as I'm expecting my first child, I find myself reflecting on how kids treat each other. I always knew it was wrong how this guy was treated. It wasn't his fault for being different. He was genuinely nice, just socially awkward and out of sync with our group dynamics. I'm not proud of not speaking up in person, only finding the courage to act when I could remain anonymous. My weight loss wake-up call was seeing how ugly my sister is. I've struggled with my weight for years. While I've made some progress, I'm still technically classified as obese. My sister, on the other hand, is even heavier, closer to a more serious level of obesity. Yesterday, I found myself scrolling through her Instagram profile. I hadn't seen her in almost 5 years and don't usually keep up with my family's social media. But as I looked at one of her selfies, a shocking realization hit me. Her face is my face. I had never noticed how similar we looked until that moment, and it horrified me. I know it sounds harsh, but I've always thought my sister was the least attractive among us. Seeing her made me confront the fact that I share those same features. Our round, pudgy faces are a reminder of what I want to change. This realization has ignited a strong motivation within me to lose weight and keep it off. I can't change our facial features without surgery, but I hope that shedding the pounds will help me feel different about my appearance. I know it's wrong to be so blunt about my sister's looks, but it's the truth. It's not just her face. She doesn't take care of herself. Her hair is over-dyed and looks unkempt, and she recently got several facial piercings that I find unappealing. I'll be seeing her in just over a year, and I'm determined to lose the weight before then. I can't bear the thought of anyone commenting on how alike we look. I did awful things as a child. I'm not a good person. When I was young, I was a real handful. Whenever I didn't get my way, I took it out on everyone around me. I completely lacked empathy and never felt remorse for my actions. If I fought with my friends or someone made me mad, I'd get back at them by spreading lies. In 4th grade, I told my teacher that my friend had called me a mean name on the playground. She got in trouble for something she never did. I had a lot of pets growing up, and I was rough with them, treating them like toys. When I was 6 or 7, I got mad at my dog for something silly and kicked her. My dad saw this and was understandably furious, but I didn't even feel guilty. I was just upset that I got in trouble. Eventually, my parents had to pull me out of school, and I went through a small army of psychiatrists and social workers. At first, it only made things worse, but then it clicked. I realized how messed up I was. I finally started feeling guilt, and it all rushed at me at once. If I continued down that path, I'd probably end up in jail. And that was one of the better outcomes. Now, in my early 20s, things are different. I still go to therapy to better myself, and it's become easier to stay on the right track. I've changed my ways, yes, but I can't undo the past. People now tell me I'm gentle and empathetic, and my parents talk about how far I've come. But it all feels like just labels. I shouldn't be praised for feeling bad about the bad things I've done. I believe that good and bad aren't things you are. They're things you do. I'll never be a good person. I'll just be a person who tries every day to be better than the one before. Update. My fiancé says I'm overreacting for being upset that I ended up sitting alone at a football game. I went to a football game with my fiancé and his brother, but our seats weren't together. I ended up sitting alone in a different section because they wanted to sit together. My fiancé was so excited about the opening game of the season, and I agreed to go to support him, even though I don't really like football. On the drive back from Chicago, they both gave me the silent treatment because the team lost. My fiancé kept insisting I was overreacting for being upset. Then my sister gave me a wake-up call. She asked me what I would tell our youngest sister if she were in my shoes. Without hesitation, I said she should leave him because he clearly doesn't respect her. That moment opened my eyes to how foolish I had been for staying and not standing up for myself. If I would advise her to leave because she deserves better, why wouldn't I do the same? I realized I had accepted my fiancé's disrespect and ignored my feelings. I broke up with him and moved in with my sister, the one who woke me up. She helped me with 2 months' rent so my ex couldn't claim I was abandoning our lease. He can sign a new lease in January or move out, but at least he can't use that against me. I don't know what I would do without my sister. She's also going to help me pay for a therapist so I can work through my issues with accepting how my ex treated me. I'm stepping away from dating until I figure things out. I appreciate all the support I received in my last post and everyone who reminded me that I deserve better. I've turned off my messages because I received some hurtful comments from fans of my ex's football team. But I truly value those who reassured me I wasn't overreacting. Even though I don't know any of you, your words really helped.
I'm a guy, and I was raped. I can't keep it to myself anymore. This is a throwaway, and I'm on mobile, so I apologize for any errors. My story isn't too different from many survivors of sexual assault you've probably heard. But in my culture, men are often seen only as perpetrators, never as victims. I don't want to compare my experience to anyone else's, but I need to share my truth. I was just 5 when it first happened. I wasn't allowed to play outside alone, only with my brother. He often saw me as a burden, telling me to go away while he played with his friends. One of his friends stayed with me and played with me. I liked him. He was probably around 16. One day, I wanted to go out to play, but my brother didn't want to take me. Instead, he offered to look after me. He took me to an under-construction house, and there, he assaulted me. He called it a secret game and told me not to tell anyone. I had no idea what was happening, so I didn't say a word. This continued 2 or 3 times a week. After the house was finished, he took me to the woods nearby. This went on for 2 years until we moved when I was 7. I didn't see him again until 5 years later. He attended the same high school as my brother. I saw him at a school function when I was 12. By then, I understood what he had done to me, and I knew it was wrong. I decided to tell my mother. When we got home that day, I opened up to her about what he did. She was surprised that I knew what rape meant. She asked me, "How could he do that to you?" I didn't have an answer. Instead, she punished me for lying and using bad words. After that, I stayed quiet. I loved my mother. She was always understanding and caring. I never expected her to react that way when I finally confided in her. Now I'm 20. Last night, I told my girlfriend about it. She hugged me tightly, and we both cried together. It felt like releasing pressure from a container that had been stuffed for 15 years. She understood, having been a victim herself at 14. It felt good to share that burden with someone who could relate. She suggested we take some sort of revenge on him, but I didn't want that. It doesn't matter to me if he is happy or suffering. I found contentment in my life. I don't even know where he is now or who he has become. If you read this, thank you for your time. I want to say that if you ever suspect someone is being abused or if they confide in you, even if you can't help them seek justice, comfort them. It costs nothing to make someone feel better, and it might give them the peace or strength to seek justice for themselves. I'd like to mention that I'm from India, where people often don't think twice about leaving boys alone with someone they know. Boys are encouraged to be very close to each other, but discouraged from forming friendships with girls. This will be my last edit because I don't want to dwell on this anymore. Thank you to everyone who shared their own stories and offered support. You are all incredible. I've hit rock bottom and I don't know how much more I can take. I never thought I'd be in this position, but here I am, homeless with my 2 kids. My daughter is 5 and my baby boy is just 8 months old. I feel like I'm about to crash, mentally and emotionally. I don't have much fight left in me. I feel defeated and hopeless. Every time I see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, another storm hits. I've been sleeping in my car with my kids. I try to work whatever gigs I can, but between the cost of food and fuel, I'm barely surviving. Whenever I can scrape together enough, I get us a room just so my kids can have some peace and rest. My daughter is so confused, but she's such a good sport. She tries to stay cheerful, even though she knows something isn't right. I've tried to get help from the state, but because of my legal status, they won't do anything for me. My kids are citizens. But that doesn't seem to matter when it comes to actually getting help. And even then, there's barely any funding available. My situation just doesn't fit into the system. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm trying to stay strong for my kids, but inside I feel like I'm breaking. I just needed to tell someone. I just needed to say it out loud somewhere. But I wanted to share some good news. I made the choice to come to New York City, and the same day I went to apply. I was placed into a family shelter. My kids and I finally have a roof over our heads. I'm so thankful to everyone who shared resources and advice, and especially to the handful of people who sent something to make sure my kids were okay. Your kindness meant more than you know. I'm confident that with this opportunity, I can finally turn my life around. I'm grateful, hopeful, and ready to work hard for a better future. Thank you all so much. My fiancé saw me walk up the front doors of his work, and his heart dropped. I just knew today would be a good day. Normally, I don't like stopping by his restaurant after work because of the traffic, and I'm usually exhausted. But today was different. I had a long day, and his place has the best food and drinks, especially on a quiet Monday. The rain kept the traffic light, and I even got off work early for once. I picked up his son from school, and as we drove, anticipation built in my stomach. Excitement bubbled over. We arrived, hand in hand, walking up to the glass doors, waiting for him to notice us. When he did, it was like time stood still. He shut his eyes, threw his head back, and clutched his chest, nearly tearing up. I let go of our son's hand, and he ran to hug his father, arms wide open and a huge smile on his face. They held each other tightly. As I walked up, my soon-to-be husband quickly pulled us close, off to the side, to give me a proper embrace. His grip was firm, and when he finally pulled away, seconds felt like minutes. He looked me in the eyes, filled with a mix of sadness and anxiety, and asked, "How did you know? How did you know I needed you today?" I met his gaze and simply replied, "I don't know, but maybe because I needed you too." The love and relief in his eyes reassured me that he is wholeheartedly committed to us and our future. I couldn't feel more blessed.
My wife died this morning. This morning, my wife passed away in hospice after a long battle with ALS. I'm 39, and she was 45. I'm shattered. I don't even know why I'm typing this now. I miss her so much. For years, I was her main caregiver, managing every daily task while also taking care of our son and working. I was exhausted, and we both felt frustrated with each other and the cruel grip of the disease. By all accounts, I did everything right. I said my goodbyes, told her it was okay, and shared my feelings while she was still conscious. I let our son say goodbye and tell her he loved her while she rested peacefully. I stayed by her side, holding her hand and talking to her every day. Yet it still feels like I didn't do enough. I feel so alone now. I don't have many close friends. She was my best friend, my confidant during my lowest moments. I understand now why people turn to faith, hoping to reunite with loved ones. It's comforting, but deep down, I know I won't see her again. All I have left are our memories and the impact she had on me and our son. I'm sorry for the ramble. I thought I was prepared for this, but I was so wrong. It's going to be a long night. Thank you to everyone who reached out. I didn't expect anything when I posted this. I just needed to share my sadness. I appreciate your stories and kind words. I know I will move forward. I will continue to live as she saw me. She never pushed me to change, but I became better by witnessing her strength and goodness. We have such a wonderful child because of her, and we will both strive to reflect her kindness. A funny yet sad moment happened today. While sorting through some documents and end-of-life paperwork, I texted my phone from her device. I got distracted, and later, when I saw the message, it brought tears to my eyes and a small smile. It's amazing how the little things can stir such deep emotions. Thank you, everyone. I stopped my husband from committing suicide, and he thinks I never knew his plans. My husband and I are 28, and we have 3 kids together. He's the only boyfriend I've ever had, with me since high school. He's always struggled with low self-esteem, and I do too, but not like he does. About 7 years ago, we got new phones, and I discovered I could read his texts. He could see mine too, but he didn't realize it. For 2 years, I would occasionally snoop to find gift ideas for him. One day, while I was pregnant with our second child, I stumbled upon something alarming. He was texting someone about meeting up, and I feared it was with another girl. As I read further, I found out he was buying drugs. We don't even drink, so I panicked. I wondered how long this had been going on and if I truly knew my husband. It turned out he was making arrangements for something that wouldn't get him high, but could take his life. I searched everywhere, tearing our room apart, but finding nothing. Late that night, while he slept, I went through his emails and discovered he was looking into life insurance and even researching cremation costs. My heart sank. When he got home, I secretly texted that person, saying I was no longer interested, and that if anyone else contacted them, it meant someone else had my phone. I didn't want him to know I was snooping, but the thought of losing him was unbearable. I remember crying in our room, imagining life without him. I love him more than anything. He is my world. From that day on, I made sure he felt my love. I started bringing him flowers at work almost every day. When he walked through the door, I would greet him with excitement, hugging him tightly and telling him how much I missed him. I made sure to compliment him, calling him beautiful and handsome, even in front of my friends. I also encouraged him to go to therapy. One night, I woke him up, unable to sleep, and shared a nightmare I had where he passed away. His response shocked me. He said, "Why is that a bad thing?" I poured my heart out, telling him he was my entire world, and without him, my life would be ruined. He suggested I'd be better off financially without him, but I insisted that money meant nothing without him by my side. I told him I would rather be homeless with him than rich without him. He was surprised to hear how deeply I felt. I asked if I could accompany him to therapy, and he agreed. I spoke to his therapist about my concerns, and he admitted he might be struggling with depression. He received a prescription, and it seemed to help him a lot. Even after 5 years, I still do all those little things for him, reminding him he's my sunshine. I never want him to doubt how much he means to me.
I'm an overweight woman with body issues, and I just had the most amazing night. I have 0 people to talk about this with, so here I am. I've been overweight on and off since adulthood, and it's been an on phase since the pandemic. I struggled with my weight for years after I was put on medication at 20. That medication messed with my metabolism permanently. I've never been the same since. even though I've been on a different one for years now. I gained about 50 pounds in a year when I used to eat whatever I wanted and stay thin. But around 2 years before COVID, I managed to lose 80 pounds, best shape of my life. Then, bam, lockdown hit. Low income, lack of healthy food, and some serious lifelong medical issues led me to gain it all back and then some. Now, I find myself at my heaviest weight ever, around 250 pounds. So, now that you have the context, I hung out one-on-one with a guy who's a mutual friend. We had only hung out in group settings before. He was nice and cute, but I have such a low opinion of my body that it never even occurred to me he might find me attractive. I was getting out of an abusive relationship and needed more friends, so I invited him over for a hangout. I was thinking games, a smoke session, and TV. Nothing wild. But then it happened. It was the best experience I've ever had. I was completely stunned and confused, realizing this person found me attractive and genuinely enjoyed making me feel good. Have you ever had someone go down on you, and when your anxious mind tells them they don't have to, because you're scared about what you might look like, they look you right in the eyes and say, "I'm not doing this for you. This is for me." I had never experienced that until the other night. I always thought guys who didn't care about a person's weight didn't really exist. I have so much self-loathing and disappointment in myself for being heavier, and I didn't realize what it felt like to be truly loved at my size. I'm not on dating apps or anything. I honestly didn't feel like I could put myself out there with my weight and health issues. Then this guy just appeared and rocked my world. I had basically written myself off as sexually unattractive or undeserving of affection. But he spent 24 hours proving me completely wrong, and for that, I'm grateful.
I'm in love with my gym bro. I'm a 22-year-old guy, and I never expected to find myself in this situation. A few months ago, I noticed a guy at my gym who made me feel something I couldn't quite understand. I was nervous just looking at him, but I pushed through that anxiety and struck up a conversation. To my surprise, he was really nice and funny, and we quickly became friends. Then, my girlfriend broke up with me. I confided in him, and during a heartfelt talk, he casually came out as gay. But that initial feeling I had when I first saw him lingered on. It was the same sensation I felt when I looked at a beautiful girl. As the months passed, it became increasingly difficult to be around him. He's just so gorgeous. At night, I find myself imagining him snuggled up next to me. I want to text him all the time, and I can't shake the desire to kiss him. I guess this is me coming out as bisexual. I met this incredible guy at the gym, and we've become best friends. I love his personality. He makes me laugh nonstop, and he's just so attractive. I want to ask him out so badly. I'm at the gym right now, and after our sets, I plan to walk him to his car and tell him how I feel. I'm feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. Later, I found myself crying in my car. He said yes when I walked into his car and finally confessed I was so nervous I could barely speak. He smiled and told me he had a feeling I was into him because he noticed me looking at him a bit too much. I told him I'm bi and we're going on a date this Friday. He looked flustered and cute when I told him, and that smile, it was everything. For those who commented on my way of speaking, I'm a history major, and my vocabulary isn't the fanciest. But that doesn't matter now. We're more than just gym bros, and I couldn't have done this without the support I received. I'm shaking with excitement. I actually did it. I love him so much. Thank you to everyone who encouraged me. I know I've been quiet for a while. I took a break from social media because I felt overwhelmed by all the attention this confession got. Some people were critical of me for sharing my emotions, and I felt embarrassed, but I'll still share updates occasionally. As for how things are going with him, it's better than I could have ever hoped. Even though we haven't been together long, I've never felt so appreciated by anyone. He really has me wrapped around his finger. I think I'll log out of this Reddit account, but keep the post up. Just know that my Twitter is where I'll share updates from now on. I just need to tell someone. I'm waiting for my husband to come home from work. After everything, I owe him this face-to-face moment. I can't ask him to come home early. His job isn't that flexible, and I don't want to cause any issues for him. This isn't an emergency, but he needs to hear it from me before anyone else, my family, friends, anyone. In 2020, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. I was told it was most likely benign, and then everything was put on hold due to the pandemic. Early in 2023, a routine scan revealed a significant bleed from the tumor, and I was rushed into surgery. I later found out it was cancer, but they considered me in remission with little chance of recurrence. 4 months later, the symptoms returned. Thankfully, my doctor decided to refer me for another scan. Not only had the tumor returned, but it had grown to the size of a walnut in just 4 months. They assured me it would be easy to treat, just a few cycles of oral chemotherapy. That turned out to be untrue. 2 years later, I've endured 8 different types of chemotherapy, totaling 49 cycles, 2 more surgeries, multiple courses of radiotherapy, and discussions about palliative care. I faced infections due to my weakened immune system, kidney failure, and damage to my heart and lungs from the treatments. Today, I received a call asking me to attend an emergency appointment with my oncologist, which I did. I just got home, and I feel sad that my husband, who has been there for all the other appointments, wasn't there for this one. But that can't be helped. I keep picturing the expression on his face when I tell him. Today is the day that everything I've been fighting for has reached its finale. The battle is over, and I'm exhausted. It's been a long 5 years. I am officially cancer-free. I just had to tell someone. I can't keep it inside any longer. The happiness, the relief. I'm overwhelmed. I want to shout it from the rooftops.